Let's do this. It's 10 o'clock.
All right, happy Sunday. Time to relax and just get our minds and bodies ready. But of course, if you know this, please sing along. No matter where we come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've gone to sleep while we're just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come, let's share a hug. Come, let's play together. Come, love and be loved. From the west out to the turned out, to the pamphlets and the reviews, this door is open to you. Say, come on in. Say, come on in. The God in us recognizes God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
And on every level, this door is open to you and to all who are here, both in the sanctuary, online, and just simply connected by the one mind. And so what I know is God is present in this moment, within each heart, within each mind, within each life. There is the presence of the one. That presence of love, that presence of intelligence, that presence of compassion. It is this thing called life, and it is present within each and every one here today, and each and every one who is connected by means of love. And so what I know for today is that this is a day of love. This is a day of inspiration. This is a day of connection and community. That all who came here physically or by means of the virtual community know that there is this power and connection of love that flows through each and every heart and each and every life. And it is what is known for each one of us as this thing called life, this thing called love, this thing called me. And so I know today is filled with all of that awareness, and that it flows through us, around us, as us. And so the music, the words, the connections, the hugs, the laughter is all just there to remind each and every person that we are here by divine appointment. And so I bless this day. I know all is well, for God is here. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Beth. Oh my gosh, thank you. That was a practitioner, Beth Haas, with our beautiful invocation. Welcome, welcome, Center for Spiritual Living, Temecula Valley. So good to see us all together. And yes, as Beth mentioned, we are here online in the sanctuary by divine appointment. We come here, right, to remember who we are, the truth of our being, and to see it reflected in the faces that we sit next to and that we sing with and who we commune with in the social hall. So welcome. I'm Charlene, Reverend Charlene Kushner. Yes, Rev Char. It is my joy and honor to be here in community together. So welcome. Center for Spiritual Living Temecula Valley is indeed an open, inclusive, loving, embracing community. And so for those who are visiting online, I hope that you can come here one day into the sanctuary and visit with each and every one of us, because we are the real deal. I love us. We really are. We are a fantastic community, and I just want to shout it, from the rooftops into Temecula Valley. It is a wonderful place to come and to be and to remember the truth of our being. So welcome. So we're going to start with our congregational song this morning with Joanna and the band, and what do you think? I Trust God, right? By Ricky Byers and Michael Beckwith. It's a goodie.
Yeah. All right, so if you're feeling that, we're going to have you up on your feet, yeah? Get the energy going here. Get the lyrics up. I'm adding grit in there because sometimes it takes a little grit in life to get through. And I wanted to speak on today in, goodness maybe. Maybe goodness is our G word today. Because we're going to think about the season for nonviolence. So we're in February, season of love. Oh, and a little shout out to my friend Veronica, who made this beautiful wreath for us. It's so cute. Yes, love you, Veronica. And if you come and look at it, these are all little gnomes. These are all little Valentine gnomes in here. So flippin' cute. Anyway, so February is African American History Month. It's also starting the season of nonviolence. That is 64 days of marking nonviolence awareness, the nonviolent response to life. And why it's 64 days is because there were 64 days between the anniversary of the death of Gandhi and Martin Luther King. There were 64 days between those two. And so we have already started. It started on January 30th and it ends on April 4th. Cesar Chavez's birthday also falls in that time frame. So some leaders in nonviolent action, right, during this time frame. And so up on the screen, we have the website for the Season of Nonviolence. I encourage you to go check it out. Every day they have something to contemplate. It's a really nice spiritual practice for this time frame. Something to contemplate, take into your prayer or your contemplation and just think about. And February 4th and 5th, they're talking about believing. How perfect for us, right? That's what we do here, right? We believe. And I wanted to talk to you about something that a phrase that Gandhi coined. And the name is Satyagraha. Satyagraha. I may not be pronouncing it right, but Ted will correct me. Satyagraha. I have it tattooed on my back. That's how much I believe in this word. And really the word translated means truth force. truth force. And the way that Gandhi explained this was there's just certain things that you know that no one can take you off of, right? There's something within each of us that is the truth of what we know that no one, no argument, no opinion could shift us from that. We know it. And so what I'd like to think about as we are moving into this month, which is all about superpowers for Centers for Spiritual Living, is considering this superpower within us, this satyagraha, this truth force. So I'd ask that we close our eyes. That's what we do right now, right? Let's take a breath, center in to the center of our being. And just keep breathing until you get there. And I want you to think about something you know is the truth. No one, nothing can tell you anything different or take you from it. Maybe it's the love you feel for a child or a partner or a fur baby. Maybe it's something that you know about nature. Call it in. What is it that I know so powerfully? Nothing and no one can keep me from it, can change my mind about it. It lives within us. And we're going to remember it right now. It's our superpower. All right, come on back. So what I want you to do now, I know it's brave, but I want you to share what that is with somebody next to you. What is it that came up for you that you know is the truth and no one can take you from it? Go. Tell each other. What is it? Superpower is, it's all good. All right, that was fantastic. Thank you for playing. I love when we have just a few minutes to just share with one another. I know we'd probably like to go, I'm with you, I'd like to go on and on too. So we're going to come back. But it is we have a special occasion happening today. Did you know that? We have singing telegrams for people who we love. So Janie and Janine, come on up. Joanna, we have singing telegrams. It's not too late. You can still sign up for one for next week, but we're going to do a couple right now. So come on in, it's your turn.
We have one to Mary Russell, Mom and Dad, love Lauren. Yay! We have one to Mo, love Kevin. You are my sunshine. One second, we have.
You need to be in tune, okay?
You are my sunshine,
My only sunshine, you make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Thanks for being my Valentine today.
find you.
Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. Yes, Valentine, dream of me. With love.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys. That was so awesome. Thank you. We're going to have another one of those in just a little bit. So, wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, it's time for our spiritual reading this morning with our practitioner, Beth Haas.
I have to follow this. I think it should be reversed. So I chose the reading for today from the book This Thing Called You, Chapter 1. And this is a book that we will be using in our class, which is starting this week. And I just thought it was just seemed appropriate, and he's just such a voice from beyond, but he just knows how to say it. So here's what Ernest Holmes has to tell us. We are all some part of a universal order. The very urge for personal gratification is incomplete until it finds a universal outlet. The pattern is trying to fit the pieces into greater and greater units, as though it could not accomplish its purpose through anything other than a democracy of spirit, a union of all. Every blade of grass, every crystal, every drop of water, like every individual, is a little different from any other one of its species. In some way, which you know not of, through some process which never reveals its face, life has entered into you, and with it the irresistible impulse to create. Divine intelligence has willed it so. Not you, nor any other person, nor all the wit, science, or philosophy of man, nor the inspiration of saints or sages can change one bit of it any more than a man can arrest the eternal circuits of time. Backside. The revolutions of the planets or the desires of the fledglings to leave its nest to soar and sing. You belong to the universe in which you live. You are one with the creative genius back of this vast array of ceaseless motion, this original flow of life. You are as much a part of it as the sun, the earth, and the air. There is something in you telling you this, like a voice echoing from some mountaintop of inward vision. This is your starting point for investigating the meaning of those impulses, those longings and desires which accompany you through life. You are to believe with utmost simplicity and with complete faith that there is a pattern of your being which is as eternal as God, as indestructible as reality, and as changeless as truth. This pattern is seeking to manifest through you. And so it is.
Thank you. That was good. I have to borrow that from her. So, it is my honor and joy to welcome the CSLTV band. Joanna, Jim, Mike, yes. And just a little promotion, because I like to promote them. This one can be found on Spotify. So I don't know how Spotify works exactly for musicians, but they probably get like a tenth of a penny every time we listen to them. But let's try to listen to her, right? Go find her on Spotify. It's meaningful, and I'm sure the numbers help your marketing ability, so it's wonderful. So go find this one on Spotify. And Jim McLaughlin is a leader in the Temecula Valley. He's a consultant, and he is offering a workshop this Thursday, which I totally want to do, but I'm going to be traveling, about crafting your elevator speech. And that is super important for any of us to have that really good description of who we are, what we do, that we can market ourselves and sell ourselves to others when we need to in a concise and meaningful way with a punch. And so that's Thursday, Jim McLaughlin. He's on Facebook. You can check him out. So a little promotion there for Jim, okay?
Go, Coach!
That's right. That's right. All right, please welcome Joanna, Jim, and Mike.
There we go. I'm going to do that class if I read anyway. So you guys, this music, we're taking a little bit of a risk with it, but music is meant to make you feel something, whether good, bad, in between. As long as you're feeling something, so we've done our job. So here we go. Life is so strange when you don't know how you can tell. One more time, ready? 3. And life is so strange when you don't know how you can tell where you're going to. You can be sure of any situation, something could change, and then you don't know. Where do we go from here? It seems all too near, just as far as I can see. I still don't know what it all means to me. I have nowhere to go, and I don't know what to do. I don't even know the time of day. I guess it doesn't matter anyway. Life is a strange destination unknown. When you don't know your destination, and something could change, it's unknown. Then you won't know. Destination unknown. Life is a strange destination unknown. When you don't know your destination, and something could change, it's unknown. Then you won't know. Destination unknown.
Now, I gotta tell you, how happy does it make my heart that we at this center can play a Missing Persons and Smashing Pumpkins song? It makes me so happy. Although I was doing the math in my head and I was like, when did this come out? Like the 80s? And I was like, boy, that's like 20 years ago. Nope, that's like 40 years ago. I'm like, oh, cow. Like that is a Missing Persons, Smashing Pumpkins rendition of the Missing Persons song. So thank you. Because she's right. We need to push, right? And hey, because what we know here that everything is spiritual, right? Everything. Nothing is outside of that. So we tend to get like, I get all spiritually, don't get me wrong. I listen to spa on my radio and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so enlightened. But Smashing Pumpkins, Missing Persons, whatever it is, it's all spiritual. It all is. So I love it. And I love that it ties in perfectly with my talk today because we are talking about exploring, using our curiosity as a superpower. So the Center for Spiritual Living puts out a yearly theme. Our yearly theme is Living Out Loud, which I love. And we're going to talk about ways every month to live out loud. And this month we're talking about being curious as a superpower in living out loud. Because curiosity is a fantastic spiritual practice. I think we forget. Who knows how to be curious? That's right. Little ones, right? Little ones. That is a superpower. So the books we're using today, I always like to promote Noble Purpose by Barry Heerman. Oh, such a good book. Father Richard Rohr, one of my go-tos favorite, The Wisdom Pattern. So those are, and Matthew Fox, I'm using his prayer, A Radical Response to Life, also today. So it was really nice to have Reverend Michael here last week so that I could celebrate Zach's birthday and just be, and it was really lovely that he did love, that he kind of bookended January with love, and then it brings us into the month of February, which is traditionally known as the month of love. So I really appreciated his talk last week. I watched it online. It was really good. And you can just, love just oozes out of him, doesn't it? I think there's just, everybody's got like their own superpower. I think mine, it might be joy. I'm very bubbly. Reverend Michael just oozes love. It's just, you just feel it from him. So it was fantastic. Fantastic. So my talk title is Might As Well Jump. And I was hoping we'd get a Van Halen song today, but next time, I'm going to coordinate earlier in the week with the team and say, hey, is it possible we can do, so we'll see. But the talk title from CSL was What Lies Beneath. And when I read that, I was like, you know what I remember when I think about what lies beneath? I think about this. The creature from the Black Lagoon, what lies beneath. So when I read that, I was like, oh no, we won't be doing that. But I thought it was funny to see the creature from the Black Lagoon, right? Because just like any suspense movie, what lies beneath can be scary, right? Heck, I don't jump into a dark lake at night. I don't swim in the dark ocean at night. I don't even jump into my own pool at night without a light on. The surface it's scary. What's under there? I think there's a shark in my pool, even though I know rationally there's no shark in my pool, right? But there's a little bit of that, like I can't see below my feet. That's a little scary for me. So, what lies beneath? But I'm hoping what we get to today is that we explore within ourselves and we find out it's really not scary. What lies beneath is really not scary. Because when we know, like Jim said earlier, when we know that all is well and all is good and life, God, is for us, really nothing can scare us. Nothing is scary because we have that deep innate trust that all is well. And that's what I hope we get to today. And really what drives us is fear. So I want to talk a little bit about fear first, because just like the creature, right? Fear is a driver for us. And I used to do this with the kids when they were little. I used to talk about, is this a type 1 fear or is this a type 2 fear? Now, type 1 fear is there's a bear chasing me, right? There is an actual physical danger that is coming into my experience and I'm being chased by a bear. That's type 1 fear. Type 2 fear is I'm projecting in the future what my taxes are going to be and I'm as scared as heck. Right? But the crazy thing is that our body doesn't really recognize the difference between a bear and taxes. It registers within us a response that releases hormones, adrenaline, whatever, right? And it moves through our body and produces a response to fear. Now, for most of us, thank goodness we're not chased by bears anymore, or tigers, or lions, or whatever, right? We're here, but we project so much, and we think about and live in the future so much with the unknown, that we might as well have a bear chasing. Because at least with a bear, like, I shimmy up the tree and then the experience is over. The bear gets tired of following me, doesn't think I'm juicy enough anyway, and it says, yeah, she's not a good snack, right? And it's over. When we project and worry about the future, I'll worry about my taxes for 3 months. That's a prolonged fear response. It's not good for our physical body. We want to get that out, right? But we come by it honestly. when we're kids, the early explorers that we all were, we come into this life experience, and that's what we did. We explored. We used our senses. We put stuff in our mouth. We crawled around, right? But we start to learn through either affirmations from usually our parents or discouragement, punishment from our parents. We learn about the life around us. Or we touch something sharp or hot, and we have a physical pain response, and that's how we learn. We say, oh no, I'm not gonna put my hand through the doggy door anymore. When the doggy door smashes down, it's gonna hurt. So we learn, right? We have that feedback and that response. And now our parents, I know all of us as parents, right? We know that when we maybe swatted a tushy or said no or reprimanded our children because they were doing something that might be dangerous for them, it came from a place of love and protection and wanting them to be safe, right? But the crazy thing is when those experiences happened, we interpret it with our small mind, or even my larger mind now, I interpret that response as a negative, as something to avoid. I want to keep my parents happy. I don't want them to be angry with me, right? And those years of hurt, of burying feelings, or having these experiences creates what Barry Heerman calls fundamental dissonance. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit, because it's good to have a basis of understanding about how we become who we are, right? So we can understand it. So I'm walking over to the slide now. You can all follow me. Okay, so Barry Heerman says this, right? So here we are. There's a little Charlene, a little Beth. And we are our essential self. That's our essential self. We come into this plane of existence, we come into this life experience as our essential self. Then things happen, okay? There's a swat on the tushy, and I protect my essential self. I put a layer on myself, right? I say, ooh, that was uncomfortable, that was hurtful. I'm going to protect myself from that. I don't want to do that again, right? Not knowing that the experience was not to punish me, the experience was there to support me in being safe or navigating my world, right? So then this builds up, and it builds up, and it builds up, and then this is where we live now. We live in a bounded self, far away from our essential self. We're living in this place of bounded self, right? So what I want, okay, going back now. I'm a mover. Poor Zach has to follow me around. So what we want to get to, right, is our essential self. We want to live from our essential self. The mystics lived from their essential self. Not from a place of masking or boundedness, right? And so understanding that we have layers that have been created through our life experience and misgivings, and that has created what we talk about here in Science of Mind and Spirit as false belief. So false belief is something that's really not true, but I believe it to be true, right? So years of being told that money doesn't grow on trees, I have created a false belief within myself about abundance, right? Affluence, whatever. We all have these false beliefs get created because we accept them as truth. Our job now as metaphysicians is to uncover, and get to our essential self, which does not believe in false belief. Our essential self knows love, is open, is curious, right? Curious, even though the situation may seem challenging for me, can I be curious enough to dive beneath the murky surface of it, the false belief of it, and see what the truth is? Really, it all comes down to, I could just end the talk, do we really believe that God is for us? When we live from a place that God is for us, life is for us, insert whatever word for your perception of that power, that presence of being, when it is for us, we can walk through life without fear. Dr. Ernest Holmes says this about this. The first step in overcoming any fear is to conceive that God is for us. Once this is done, we have at once overcome the fear by seeing that there is nothing to be afraid of. The world is all right, and we can meet it on its own terms. Now, you know what I love about that? He didn't say my terms. He said its terms. The problem is I keep trying to meet it on my terms. Well, my terms, right, when we remember our boundedness, I'm operating from a place of boundedness. If I was in my essential self, I would meet life on its terms and trust everything, even the uncomfortable stuff. I would be like, oh, I trust. Because the cosmic joke is we are already truly, fully realized. We are our essential selves. We just have these layers around us. Now, what I love to think about is, I think about my mom, right? And she created a layer of dissonance, but not out of malice, out of love. She was loving me through that experience, but my interpretation from my small being side didn't interpret it correctly. I didn't see it clearly, right? And I believe the same thing about life, God, experience. It's not here to punish me. It's here for me to learn. Is this an opportunity for me to grow, to be more? Yes, it is. I say yes. Because when we live in that place of fear, right, when I'm talking about my taxes, right, and I'm living in that place of fear, I'm either in fight or flight. I'll tell you right now, I'm not a fighter. I'm a fleer. I'm a runner. And the tactic of that is to avoid pain. So I will flee the situation, right? Instead of diving beneath the surface, being brave and jumping in. That's why I said, might as well jump. Let's jump in. Don't run and don't fight. There's a way to hold a space between. Father Richard Rohr calls it the third way. There's in the Hindu teaching and the Buddhist teaching, they all have this other path. And it's the space between. I'm not saying you have to agree with the situation, but just don't run, don't fight. Just be with it. Be with the dissonance. Give it a moment. I found this fascinating. Do you know, this is a fun fact, do you know that be not afraid, or some kind of variation in languaging of be not afraid, appears in the Bible 365 times? Coincidence? I think not. The Bible is telling us, be not afraid every day. Every day, be not afraid. So let's jump. All right, this is where it's going to get, it's going to get uncomfortable. I'll just tell you right now. Because we're going to talk about the shadow. I know, what a bummer. Yeah, I know, Susie's clapping. Yes, for the shadow! I'm with you. Because I think most of us appear very groomed and coiffed on the outside. I'm all put together, right? But Nate's going to put this light up. Okay, but that's me on the surface, right? Oh my gosh. Paddling like heck underneath the surface. Looking great on the outside. But underneath, I am working like heck. Keeping it surface is not keeping it safe. And that's a danger. If we stay on the surface level and we don't dive in and explore life and explore ourselves, it's that we're living in false belief that is not safe. Safety is knowing God is for us. And I can dive into the shadow, I can dive below the surface, I can face behaviors within myself and others and not be afraid. Remember, 365 days. So in this area, we're supposed to use our intuition. So when we were small explorers, we used our senses and our feeling. Now that we're larger, bigger explorers, I'm asking us to use our intuition. John Donahue says, when we devote no time to the inner life, we lose the habit of the soul. We become accustomed to keeping things at surface level. Now, I don't say that you have to be like in the shadow work all the time. That's very heavy and it's hard. It's a balance, right? It's a balance. I like to listen to 80s music and go play pickleball. I'm not spiritual all the time. But I do devote time to spirit. I do devote time to myself every day to contemplate, to pray, to think about myself. And that's what I want all of us to do. Not just be at the surface all the time. Dive in a little bit. Because I want us to be curious about the ways we act and how we meet our mirrors. Right? How am I responding to challenge? I'm in an uncomfortable zone. I don't like this conversation that I had with somebody. Maybe I didn't behave that real well. Can I give myself permission to explore that shadow part of myself? I was irritated. I was hungry. I just wanted to be pissy. There's no shame in my game. I'm a human being. Sometimes I'm just pissy. But, right, the gift is, okay, Charlene, why? Why did that person rub you the wrong way? Why? It's an opportunity for us to explore. And I promise you, when you think about it, when you give it like 15 minutes and actually think about it, don't keep it on the surface. Really? Call within yourself and think about it. Why was I acting so pissy with that person? The gift will come. And you'll have a realization about it. And you'll be like, oh, yeah. And maybe the next time, I'll do a little better. Because that's all we're asking for, right? Is we just do a little better and a little better. I have a funny slide about the shadow. Can you put that up, Nate? Since it was just Groundhog Day. So, the therapist saying, embrace your shadow, right, to the groundhog. I thought that was hilarious. Because emotions really are the great way shower. That is the foundation of what we do here at Science of Mind and Spirit with our prayer work. Looking at emotions, looking at feelings, to see what's in back of them. They are the great way showers. James Baldwin says, and I think I have a slide for this name, I speak of change not on the surface, but in the depth. Change in the sense of renewal. So when you take that moment and you say, why was I pissy? And the gift comes and you're like, that's why. Renewal. You are born again in that moment. And we are moving into the Christian faith time of renewal. We're going to talk a lot about that with the resurrection. That is a grand story, the hero's journey of moving from a place that's uncomfortable, doing the deep work in the shadow, and then coming out the other side renewed, resurrected. It's a new way of being. And in the Bible it says, die daily. Now that doesn't mean, literally croak daily, but die daily. Let a little piece of your bounded self die every day. Just a little piece. And become renewed. It gets you closer and closer and closer to your essential self when you do that. But it takes work. I say take on gratitude. It's very hard though. When I have challenge with people, and it's very hard for me to be in gratitude when Susie's called me out on something, and I totally know that she's called me out on something, right? I'm like, oh my God, she's right. But it's really hard for me to be in gratitude in that moment, I'll be honest, right? But if we can take a breath, be in gratitude that this is the way shower for me to do some work to get back to who I really am, right? To celebrate it and pause and be creative with it. Now, Father Richard Rohr calls that the sacred wounding. And we try to keep it on the surface and put a Band-Aid on it. And we're saying, no. Look at the wound, right? It's sacred. Consider it sacred. He says this. All the great mythologies and mystics tell us that we will be wounded. That's just God telling me I'm right on time. That we will be wounded. It's what we do with the wounding that makes all the difference. We are going to be wounded. What are we doing with it? Are we keeping it on the surface, putting that little Band-Aid on it, or are we going to really let that wound heal and get closer to our essential self? That's what we do here. And so I just wanted to do a quick promote, because we have new people, and I think we talk about treatment, which is a fancy word for prayer. We talk about treatment a lot here, but that's the 5-step affirmative prayer that our practitioners who are wearing the blue stoles, I'm going to ask you to stand right now. I was going to do it later, but I'm going to ask you to stand right now. Practitioners, can you please stand? Mary Russell. These ones have been trained, thank you, Jim. These ones have been trained in the art and science of prayer. They took 4 years of classes, then they took 2 more years of concentrated study in the practitioner coursework to be licensed. Then they have to go panel, right? They have to go meet with ministers and pray and, prove their mettle, so to speak. And so these ones are really the artists of prayer. And so Dr. Ernest Holmes knew, along with the mystics, that knowing thyself, long before modern psychology is telling us about this, that knowing thyself is the key. Exploring thyself, that's the key. And so a spiritual mind treatment, we're going to go through it quickly because I'm going long, is 5 steps. Very easy. I unify with God. Did you put the slide up, Nate? Thank you. So the first step is, I'm going to unify with God. Or know that God, I need to have Beth come up here and teach this. I do know how to pray. The first step is, I know who God is. I know what God is. And I affirm it. I proclaim it. God is love. God is the unending intelligence that sources, supports, guides, guards the universe. So I declare what God is. Second step, I unify with God. I know that I am that. In the Bible, I am that I am. We are that we are. We are God made manifest, each of us. Third step, I'm declaring what is truth for me or a person who has asked me to pray for them. Now, this is not from our Christian upbringing, beseeching some man on a cloud it's not that. It's declaring the truth of my being. I am abundant. I am fully sourced. Whatever the truth is that I know now. I anchor it in gratitude because it's already done. And then we release the word into the power and presence, the law, which we call the law, that's the doer. The law is the great yes machine. It says yes to anything. So, that is prayer. But what these practitioners do is they get to your essential self. That's it. That's the entire purpose of seeing a practitioner, is that they know the truth about you, even when I'm in the weeds and I have $7 in my bank account and I cannot even imagine that I am an abundant person, right? It's very challenging when I am faced with defect. But the practitioners know the truth about you, can see through the weeds of the story, and affirm the truth. They break through the boundedness. They see right through it. They're listening to my story, right? And I'm in my story. And they're over here, looking down at me like, oh, that's her story. I know the truth. That's her bounded story. I know the truth of her essential self. So they wait for me patiently until I'm done with my story. And then they work with me with spiritual practices, some ideas, maybe could you consider this? They impart a new way for me to think about it, and they anchor it with a prayer. So here's the crazy part. I was coming to this church since 2004. I never had a practitioner session until I started prac class. And I think that's true for a lot of us. And so for me today, the real bottom line is, I would be over the moon if each person in this sanctuary and beyond made an appointment to have a practitioner session. Be brave. Jump in. Explore the depths of your being with a loving, guiding practitioner. It's their joy to serve us. And they're trained. And it's not just for the big messy stuff, it's for the good stuff too. Is life really cool right now? Are you like jamming and things are good and you want more of that? See a practitioner. It's for all of it. All right, where am I? I think, I have a cute story, but I just went right on by that cute story, so we'll save that for another day. But that's what I want today. I want us to know the truth of our being, that we do have this boundedness around us. It comes naturally through our life experience. Get to our essential self. Break through, uncover, figure out what false beliefs you're carrying about yourselves and other people so that you can die a little bit every day into renewal. I love you. And so it is. All right, let's call the band up. Got another good song. So perfect. Why am I trying to sing the telegram?
I'm sitting here and I'm like, yes, all the things, yes. And so this song came out of the blue, and I was listening to it, I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. And then it got to a part, and I'm like, whoa, what is that? And you're going to hear it. It's in the verse 2, but there's somebody that goes here that would be perfect for that, but they were not coming today. So I had to look at myself and say, can I do that? I don't know if I can. And most of the time we get to try things, but not in front of a lot of people. So this is exactly, but that's my job. I have to feel the things and do the things and show you that you also can.
Hey, Mr. Curiosity, is it true what they've been saying about you? Oh, you're killing me. You took care of the cat already, and for those who think it's heavy, is it the truth, or is it all just gossip? Call it mystery or anything, just as long as you call me. I sent the message on, did you get it? When I left it, see this catastrophic event, it wasn't meant to mean no harm. And to think there's something wrong would be a problem. I'm looking for love this time, sounding hopeful, but it's making me cry. And love is a mystery, Mr. Curiosity, be Mr. Please, do come and find me. give me cross. See, love is a mystery, Mr. Curiosity. Please be Mr. Come and find me. Love is blind, and the time is never right. But who am I to beg for difference? Finding love in just an instant, I don't mind. At least I try. I try.
I don't think I've ever heard you sing that way.
Me neither.
That was amazing. I mean, it really felt like it was
Death to fear.
coming from deep inside of you. I really appreciate that authenticity. So thank you for being. Sorry, well, are we all here? Yeah, I'm having a private moment with my friend. But no, really, I mean, I really felt like that came from a real authentic, essential self place from you. So that was nice. I always know when God's coming out of my eyes that there's something there. Thank you. That was beautiful. Okay, where am I next doing? Oh, we're doing another singing telegram, right? Oh, after the offering. Okay, great. Sorry. All right. It's time of our service for our offering. Yes, it's that time where we get to practice online. Thank you, online. And here in the sanctuary to give in a meaningful, material way. I really appreciate it. It serves, I know I say it every week, but it serves really what we do here. I'm able to come into this center and be together and to grow this community and to reach out into the Temecula-Murillo Valley and beyond. And so thank you, our ambassadors, for coming up too. I appreciate it. Polly, you can come up. Let's come. You can come up. Let them see you in your red hat. Come up here too. I want everybody to see our volunteers. Right here. See, I'm going to really do it now, and I can really embarrass you and stand right here. No, but thank you both for being brave and leaning into service. We really appreciate it. I wanted to share quickly, too, a little story about myself, because I sometimes think that hearing like a witnessing about offering, because it is about supporting the center, but sometimes it's nice to hear it in first person, and if anybody else has examples of how tithing, giving has changed your life, come see me and we'll talk about it here. Because I think that's meaningful to know that it really works. Way back, I did this interesting practice with Ted, one of our congregants and leaders here. And he kind of took me back, like we were looking at abundance in my life. And he took me back into my childhood. It was a whole like thought thing, and we were like physically walking back, and he was guiding me through it. And after this experience, I looked down, and no joke, there was a dime at my foot in the grass. I still have it. It's pasted into my journal, a dime. And I was like, okay, God. So then I get home, and Susie says, I've been taking this class at the center, and I really want us to, this was hard for her to tell me because I'm very cost conscious normally. And she said, I want to start tithing 10%. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, let's do this. And so that is when we started our tithing practice. It was like, and I remember it was like in the downturn, it was like 2010, and I was a consultant, and there's all this backstory. But when we made that commitment, the very next day, this new client that I was working with wrote me a check for $10,000. And you just cannot make this stuff up. I mean, it's just powerful. So I'd encourage you to explore within yourself, leaning in a little bit more, giving in a grateful way, which is what we're doing here. It's not about just putting the money in the basket. It's about the ritual of this time. And blessing the offering, knowing it's for your good and our good, okay? So I want us to really embody that ritual that this is and not make it just another part of what we do here, but really sink into it, just like anything else, all right? So if you would take your offering, if you have it, or if you're an auto tither, you can put your hands on your heart. And let's use this time to really anchor into gratitude for this practice, for what this gift does to support this center, what this gift does to move into the universe, to the law who only says yes. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to give. All right, now let's come back together and let's do our affirmation of this anchoring. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. Thank you.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Joy is my source, joy is my power, joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need.
All right, so to continue kind of in this ritual, I'm asking now that our Sunday coordinators, who are board members or associates of the board, come forward with our baskets. We have baskets. And I want to have everybody have the opportunity to bless this. This is us in a basket. And so I'd ask you just put your hands out and really just bless these offerings, these acts of giving, and just say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, coordinators. Thank you. That's lovely. All right. So we're going to do another Valentine surprise. Somebody's getting a Valentine. Come on up.
You get a Valentine. You get it. You can be like Oprah. You get a Valentine. These are still for sale, right?
Yes, you can still purchase a Valentine greeting for next Sunday in the breezeway with Janine at the Valentine table.
Okay, we have one for, Janie Curry. Love Rachel. I'll deliver that one. And we have one for Ann Woodward. Love Holly Hall. And we have one for Ann Purchase. Yes.
And Kate.
Sorry, Ann Kay. Love Holly Hall. And we have one for Holly Hall. Friends. Sorry. this I promise from the heart. You're my favorite Valentine, dear. I love you just the way you are.
That was so beautiful. Thank you. Oh, yes, you too can join in the fun next Sunday. Go get a Valentine. Wouldn't it be great if our whole service was like Valentine's? That would be so great. All right, I'm going to ask Jim Willis to come up and do our announcements for today. Come on up, Jim. Come on down.
Good morning, everyone. First announcement, CSL TV Education. I want to let you know that Beth Haas and Reverend Charlene will be launching a new certificated class called Spiritual Principles and Practices, using the book, This Thing Called You, by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Again, this will be a 5-week course starting this Tuesday, February 7th. We have a sign-up sheet on the information table and online through our website. And here, I have Beth up here to tell us a little more about it.
When we did this class last fall, a fall ago, we were still wearing masks, and this was kind of a venture back out into people gathering together. And so we weren't sure how to handle. The most important decision was, how are we going to handle snacks? Because this center loves food events. And so what we did was to have people sign up, and the criteria was you could only bring pre-wrapped snacks. And I gotta tell you, it brought out the kindergartners in all of us. We were bringing Hostess ho-hos and things. And it was fun, and it really helped build community. This time I think we'll probably still do some pre-wrap, but it's the idea of coming together and talking about our understandings and our practices on the spiritual path. So we're all walking this together, and this is an opportunity over this 5-week period to kind of talk a little bit like the duck, the underneath paddling part. You know, we kind of cruise through, and yeah, we're really spiritual, we're really cool. And then this is an opportunity to say, but I don't really understand something, or I've never really found a way to work. So this is very much roundtable discussion class. This is not you're sitting in rows and Charlene and I are up there in stern faces and sticks waiting to whack you on your knuckles. It's an opportunity to just unpack all of this together. So if you're kind of thinking about it, I would encourage you to come on Tuesday and dip your toes in the water, jump in, and see if it's to your liking. So it's 5 weeks. It goes really fast, and you're all welcome. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Wow, that thing with the stick and the knuckles brought back images of Sister Josephine 70 years ago for me. Anyway, Super Bowl. Again, this is a reminder. Bring your cans of soup, stew, chili to the center from now through Super Bowl Sunday, and that's only next week, February 12th. And it doesn't have to be cans of soup. It can be any non-perishable food. It can be Kraft macaroni and cheese. It can be soup bowls. It can be anything. So bring it on in. Anyway, we are participating in a fun competition with other centers for spiritual living in providing nourishment for those in need. We only have today, which is pretty much over with, and next week. So let's all go to your cupboard, take out those cans. If it's expired, don't bring it in. But if it's still good, bring it in, and we'll bring it over to the food pantry. The CSL TV singing telegram is still in full swing, as you certainly saw today. Did you enjoy the Valentine messages? Yes. Good. So send some love to someone you love. Only $10 sign up in the breezeway, and only 1 week left. Also, there's a paint and sip night is happening with our Gifts of Spirit Club. Sunday, February 19th at 1 o'clock at Pinot's Palais in Temecula. And what this paint and sip really means, this place, they provide you paintbrushes to paint the easels that you're going to use and everything. Wine, that's where the sipping comes in. It's a lot of fun. I went to one and I didn't realize the creativity I didn't have in myself. It's really nice. Bookstore sale. I know you saw a huge table full of select books out there. So come to the table in the breezeway, check them all out. I know that Kevin put them all in nice piles and orders, you know, for women, or for men, or for creatures, whatever. It's just good. Come, pick out whatever's, you know, you feel like having. Very, very cheap, inexpensive. Tax forms, speaking of taxes.
My favorite thing.
The Center has now prepared all the 2022 tax forms for your files. We want to thank you for your generous giving to this Center. We appreciate your continued support, and we provide a great tax write-off. So please go in the office, see Cecilia for your tax forms so that you can, you know, have that deduction that we all need. That's very good. And if you go in and pick it up yourself, you're going to save the Center another 55 cents or 60 cents because we won't have to put a stamp on it and put it into snail mail. So this way, you're saving again. CSL TV has many ways to connect. Our Sisters in Spirit Women's Group, our Band of Brothers Men's Group, Book Study, Gifts of Spirit Creativity Group, our Hiking Group, and last but not least, our Pickleball Club. As you know, we have so many things to offer to become a part of for yourself and connect with other like-minded folks. So just please see our website or the activity tables here at the Center for more information. Roll your sleeves up and get involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have so much going on here. It's awesome. And now I'm playing pickleball, which is fantastic. You will. Can we do it after the prayer, or do you want to announce it right now? Okay, all right. Announcement. Just come up and be ready. Okay, all right. All right, we're going to do what we do here, right? We talked about prayer, and that's what we're going to do right now. So I hope that when you hear the prayer this morning and you hear prayers going forward, that now you really recognize the 5 steps and you'll be like, oh, Charlene, yep, she hit 1, she hit 2, she hit 3, right? I hope we all can hear it and recognize it. So there is a power in coming together in consciousness into the one mind. And so I just ask that you close your eyes or soften your gaze and just turn your attention within. Let's touch into that place of the essential self. For that is God. I know that space to be love and peace and clarity. It is for us. It loves us. And so I know that I am one with this power and presence. I am a unique, embodied ray of light. And as I know this for myself, I know this for each beloved here and every beloved everywhere. All beautiful, individualized embodiments of God. We are the Spirit of the living God made manifest. And so I know and affirm that life is for us. That even in the challenge, that there is a curiosity to explore the sacred wound, to dive into the shadow, and give ourselves the opportunity to be renewed through the ahas, and through the gift of God moving through us, as us. And I know that even if there is any sense of uncomfortable, challenging experiences in our life experiences, that we pray, pause, contemplate, we look within to know the truth of our being, that we are God made manifest, and all is well, and all is well. And so I just anchor this in great gratitude, for I am so grateful for this truth, for this knowing that it is already done in the mind of God. And so I just release these words into the power and action of the law, for I know it is done. Please affirm with me in saying, and so it is. And so it is. And so, Alana, you want to come up and say something real quick? Yeah? And then we're going to, I know I kind of veered off because I'm always changing things. And I edited the closing song. I'm putting it back in now.
For anybody that didn't know, Karen Drucker, the New Age musician, is having a concert under the domes in Hammond at the CSL. And she's a wonderful musician, and I got to know her a little bit by going to the Big Sky Retreat for 5 years. And so if you wanted something to do this next Saturday, it's $25, and she'll put on a great show, I'm sure.
Awesome.
And the flyers are out in the breezeway.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great. All right, I did bring back the closing song, and this one I worked with Joanna, and we like this one a lot. I'm living in love. The words are up there. I'm going to come down too and sing with you.
Sing up there. Sing up there.
Oh no.
I'm living in love, living in peace, living my life, Lord, I believe, through joys and through fears, in this world I walk, it shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace, we are living in grace. We are living in grace. Come on. I love to see you sway. We are living in grace.
All right, so we're getting it back. I think it feels good. I'm going to ask you, because I make assumptions. Does it feel good that we anchor in some type of song? Do we like that? Okay. See, I made an assumption in agreement with you that you guys all wanted to get out of here and get into the social hall. So we're bringing back, now that I know, I can do better. So we'll anchor every week in a closing song, which is lovely. So, yay. So, one last thing for, I know we are packed full today, so one last thing.
You have a birthday.
Her birthday.
I don't like celebrating birthdays.
All right, we're gonna sing happy birthday.
Thank you.
Birthday Valentine.
Okay, thank you. All right, yes, my birthday is tomorrow. There's no, I'm going to be 54 tomorrow, so yay. Yay.
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Charlene. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I feel loved. I know. I love you all. Have a beautiful week. Let's go out and renew ourselves every day, okay? Pinky promise. Let's renew ourselves every day. I love you. Thank you online. We love you too. Oh, this